You're here because you would like to know how you can best co-create and play with the universal energies that are available to you right now for whenever you're watching this video. I'm your host, Kylie Savage Psychic, and this is February 2022 Oracle Cast. Thank you so much for tuning in and for watching. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome. And if you've been watching along for a while and you're a long-time subscriber, I want to say welcome back and a very, very sincere thank you, and I appreciate it. I appreciate everything. I appreciate the subscribers subscribing. I appreciate people liking the videos, leaving comments, getting in touch with me, giving me feedback and suggestions. I really do appreciate it all. So, because this is actually the 13th of February, I've asked Spirit to stretch this message out and for it to speak to people for whenever they watch it, and to know that, just like as a reminder that there is a whole library now of these readings. I've been doing them for 3 years now, and you can use that as an oracle. So wherever you are in life, whatever time, whatever's going on for you, you can just get quiet, get still, do some breathing, think about your question, maybe write it out. That's a really good idea. Make sure it's a really great, specific, open-ended question. And you can dip into this library. Pick any reading at random. A lot of them are pick-a-pile readings. So choose your number. I'll give you the cues to do that. And just see, if Spirit does have a message in this library for you, which Spirit are so accommodating. And I'm sure if you found me, if you found these messages, you found the reading library, that you will receive something. Sometimes it's just a word, a phrase. Sometimes it's in the sharing. Sometimes it's in it's the actual just one card. Sometimes it's the whole message, which is terrific. You resonate with all of it. But yeah, like if you can just take away one thing and that can assist and support you for wherever you are in life, wherever you're at, then that's terrific. That's a blessing and that's a miracle. Okay, so we will get to the reading, and I just want to check in first. I just want to ask how you are. This is the first reading I've done for 2022. It's the first video I've made. And so if you are new to the channel, you may want to go back and see the last one, which was December 2021 Oracle Cast. I just want to know, how are you going? Everyone's been having different experiences, and yet, it's good to just check in and ask ourselves, how are we? How are we really? We can take off the personas and the masks and the shoulds and the coulds and the woulds, and we can just check in. If you'd like to let me know in the comments how life's been for you lately, I'd love to hear it. I read all the comments and I respond. So yeah, if you would like to share, go ahead and let us know how you are. Okay, terrific. I'm going to jump into our reading, and I'll get you to just do some breathing with me, in through your nose, out through your mouth, and then I'll give you the cue to check to choose a number intuitively. It's the first number that comes to you. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I go back and I watch these, rewatch these videos, and I pick a different number. So don't get hung up on that, okay? Let's just breathe. So in through your nose, nice deep breath, out through your mouth, shoulders away from ears, letting it all go. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Arriving in this moment, being here now, in through the nose and out through your mouth. And I want for you to go ahead and choose a number between 1 and 4, and you can do that now. Right, got your number? Now that number is the number of the card whose message may just be a little bit more pertinent for whatever is going on with you in your life right now. May just be a little bit more relevant, and it's a way to personalize the readings a bit more. Okay, so if you chose card number 1, we call that the anchor card, and it's birth, rebirth. Now I have a new light, and these cards are shiny, So you may have a little bit of difficulty seeing them. See if I can hold it there. And I just want to let you know also, forgive me, that I'm reading from Colette Baron Reid's The Wisdom of Avalon deck. I've talked a lot about this deck in other videos, so I won't now. Okay, so our anchor card. We imagine that we are sitting in an ocean in a boat and we've dropped anchor and we now have a 360-degree view all around us. So this message, no matter what card you choose, the anchor card, sets the scene. This is what most of the message will be about, and then the other rings I'll explain how they add into it. So birth, rebirth. I'm feeling that this message already resonates a lot with me. I'm going through another big period of upheaval and transition, and I was re-listening to Oracle Palooza from last year. I have the recordings of that. So I went to Colette Baron Reid's Oracle Palooza virtual, and I chose the package where you get the recordings, and I'm going back and listening to it. And Colette talks about the metaphor of the caterpillar. And there's one part of that talk, she talks about the caterpillar, the actual parts of the caterpillar which need to turn into a butterfly, but are not parts that are going to be useful, actually die. So at some stage when the caterpillar's turning into the going from the larvae to the pupa, to the butterfly, some stage in there, the caterpillar is going through a really uncomfortable stage. It's feeling sick and yucky, and parts of it are actually turning into goo and dying. So the parts that will be the butterfly are staying, and the parts that won't be the butterfly are leaving. And birth. I've given birth to 2 children, and birth is painful. It's a painful process, and it's something too, when you gestate, you're waiting 9 months for that baby to come along. If that's, how your birth journey happens, pregnancy and birth journey happens. And there are changes all the time. And then birth and labor actually has stages as well. And not every stage of labor is physically painful or emotionally painful or mentally taxing. Not all of it is. Yet, from my own experience, a lot of it is. So if you are at a point in time where you are being called to birth something new, where you feel there is something rising up in you, or perhaps it's been there for a long time and it's just, its time is now, just know that everything you're going to experience in this process, it has validity, it has value. It is important, it is necessary, and is needed. The mess, the muck, the pain, the uncomfortableness, the overwhelm, the anxiety, the whole gamut of thoughts, emotions, experiences that are going to happen throughout this process are all meaningful, and they are all necessary and important. So birth, rebirth too is connecting in with the cyclical nature of existence and understanding that in order for things to be born, other things must die away. And sometimes you don't know necessarily everything that wants to be born through you, or for you. You don't know what it all is because it's gestating. It's been conceived, then it's going to be gestated, then it's going to be born. And it's okay to not know. And it's very, very uncomfortable. I find it very, very uncomfortable as someone who needs to know, has been obsessed with needing to know, so that they could not feel, they could avoid feeling powerless. Sitting with the unknown and the uncertainty and the uncomfortability can be a very painful, challenging place to be. And yet it's all okay. And I trust that when you watch this whole video through that I'm going to be making sense. I don't feel like I'm making a lot of sense today to myself, to anyone. And yet, sometimes I rewatch these videos and I go, oh, yeah, I get it. That does make sense to me now. Sometimes when I'm hearing it come through, I'm not sure if I'm am translating the message correctly or as I want to. What I really want to say is that even if, and especially if, this thing that wants to be born through you, you don't know what it is. That's it. I remember my point. When you don't know what the thing is that wants to be born in you, you have an inkling, or maybe you have a really good idea. But let's just say you have an inkling, but you're not sure. You're not 100% sure. And we don't take action always, hardly ever, from a place of certainty. We take, when we're birthing new things, we're always coming from a place of unknown uncertainty. Not always, okay, most of the time. So sometimes the thing that you do know is that you need to make space for it. Sometimes the thing that you do know is like when you've become pregnant, and I'll use this metaphor and you can see if it applies to you in any way, if you can wrap your head around it. But when you become pregnant, so you're starting off with the, the cells from conception, and they can only be seen through a microscope, and yet they're going to end up, if you go through the whole birth process, they're going to end up a whole baby. And your body has to make space for that baby. So the thing is, you may not know, you may have like the seed, the germ of an idea right now, and you may not know what it is, why it is, where it is, when it is, yet you know it's coming. And so sometimes the only action you can take is to make space for it. And the way to make space is often to stop, to reflect, to take stock. And you can very easily often identify what's not working in your life, what's kind of run its course, what you've peaked at, what no longer really has a sense of meaning and purpose for you, and what is going to be the easiest thing to offload. Because we need to create time and space. And and I've talked about this, the universe abhors a vacuum. That space is going to be filled. That baby's going to grow. That womb is going to, all that space in the womb is going to be taken up. And it's going to be taken up by something or lots of things. Who knows? Yet sometimes and I'm relating to this is where I'm at. I'm at a place where I don't know what the thing will be. And I have a habit of making the thing so all important that I lose my sense of focus and direction. And I lose, the sense of how I'm trying to make meaning out of my life because I put too much on the thing. It has to be the thing. Nothing is the thing. Everything is the thing. It's a paradox. Going back. So what you can do is make space. If you feel like something wants to be born in you and you don't know what it is, just make space anyway. Just trust in the cyclical nature of life and existence and experience. Things are born, they grow, they peak, they rise up, they fall away. Humans, this is a tricky bit for us, is becoming aware that something has run its course, becoming aware that something has served its purpose, becoming aware that you've experienced the shit out of something and you no longer need it. And now it's time to release it, to let it die and fall away. We don't like that caterpillar stage. We don't like sitting in the muck of the unknown, the uncertainty. We absolutely hate it. And we will do just about anything not to experience that. I'm talking from personal experience. If you relate to, that's great. I've come to understand that our human body, our human mind, our wiring is against change. It is completely fearful of any and all change, and it does not want it to happen. And yet, that's okay. This is all part of growth. This is all part of the human experience, is understanding we have a negative bias, we avoid pain, move towards pleasure, we have all this biology and physiology, and we can work with all of that and working through. And the human race as a species has known this forever and is learning this as well. And we're learning this in new ways, and it's becoming more mainstream. And our science is, finding new discoveries all the time and explaining our mind and our brain to us and our bodies. The part that gets left out a lot is the spirit. So if you are going through this birth process, please remember that essential truth that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, as Pierre de Chardin Teilhard, I'm probably saying it wrong, as he said. You are spirit first and foremost, and you need to trust your spirit as you go through this cycle of growth and birth, death, birth, death, rebirth. We need to trust it. And this paradox about impermanence and permanence, and the paradox of you being a multi-dimensional, immortal soul having a mortal experience in, still in a few dimensions. But it was Dr. Brian Weiss, he said that in one of his meditations, and I just always loved it. Yeah, you're multi-dimensional. And a lot of us are waking up to the multi-dimensionality, of experience of existence, and what it means to be human and non-human and all the rest of it. Just all I can say is to love yourself forward. Take those baby steps. Recognize that parts of you are going to resist all and any change. Resistance is the way. Resistance is the key. It's in the abyss you find your treasures, as Joseph Campbell said. And if you are kicking and screaming and you know that something's dying away or it has died away for you and you don't know what's next, breathe deep and know that's okay. That's actually excellent. It's actually terrific. It means you're alive. You're living your life. You're going through all these processes and you are at some level engaging with them, and you will keep moving forward. That change is the only inevitable thing about life, and that, accepting, being aware of, accepting and embracing that, you are part of the cyclical nature of all existence. That's okay. That's really good. It's all right to be having a mortal human experience. It really is. Okay, so have you had card number 2? So this is called our next action card, and it is the Merlin. So lots of alchemy happening here. So if you chose card number 2, it's the Merlin. Alchemy, justice, and balance. And I don't know if you can see, there's Merlin, the wizard, sitting there in his chair. Try and get the light off him. And he's sitting there with a dragon. And I actually got called to connect with a business totem. I already have one for my whole business, but I got called to connect with a totem for this year. So I do a power trio for each year. So I do a number, a word or a phrase and a color. And this year I also felt like I need to connect with the totem. So my totem is a dragon, another dragon. So I just say, call me Khaleesi now, the mother of dragons. I have 3 dragons working with me. I mean, you can have lots of dragons working with you at different times. Yet, yeah, I have this new dragon that's connected with me. And there's a lot going on for me this year. How about you? Have you done your personal year number for numerology? I did that. Did you do reflection rituals and invoking rituals? Where are you at? What's this year? What do you intuitively know that this year is shaping up for you to be? Love to hear. Let me know in the comments. The Merlin is talking once again about this process of change, and it's really important to connect with the magic and the mystery that's available to us as humans in life. So when you don't know, what do you do? When you don't know what? When you don't know when? You don't know how? What do you rely upon? What source do you connect with and communicate with so that you can start figuring this stuff out? And if you've done things in the past, are they working for you now? Or do you feel like they're not working for you as well as what they had? Or do you need to throw everything out and start again? I'm really feeling a calling to go back into that beginner's mind, to not let my self-knowledge become a real obstacle, which I've seen that it has been in the past, and it can be again for me. Because, if you find yourself saying, well, I know all that, but I know all that. If you ever say a but, that's really telling. Write down what you've said around when the but has come up. Because but is a clue about what your resistance is, and it's a clue and a breadcrumb and a key to where you need to go next. So what's working for you now in your life and what's not? And could you be open to something new? Could you be open to engaging with the alchemy of change, the alchemy of not knowing, the alchemy of trust, the alchemy of spirit, the alchemy of magic, the alchemy of source, whatever you call your higher power? Could you be open to engaging with the mystery, however you understand mystery to be? Because what if that is the way forward for you for right now? What if Spirit is calling you, asking you to open up the door? Like you're in this place of not knowing, open up the door and step through it into more of the not knowing, into more of the mystery, more of the paradoxes, more of the possibilities. There's a really great meditation. If you're relating and resonating with this a lot and you're like, yes, that's it, that's where I'm at. Something that may be helpful for you. It's called the Uncertainty Meditation. It's part of a package, a toolbox called the Prescription for Courage. It's by Dr. Lissa Rankin. So Google her. If you're not sure, put it in the comments, get in contact with me and say, what was that you were talking about, Kylie? That meditation I credit with getting me through some really tough chapters in my life. Okay, so what is the alchemy for you? And justice and balance. So if you're in the not knowing too, you're going to move into the knowing. Then you're going to move back from the knowing into the not knowing. You're going to move along the spectrum. And you might move along that spectrum within minutes, within hours, within days, within months, with weeks. Shifting back and forward and back and forward. Please know that's okay. Please know we're all in this. We're all doing this, whether we acknowledge it or not. We are all moving from knowing to not knowing, knowing to not knowing, and everything in between, and that's okay. I'd love to hear how you go with that, how you're engaging with the mystery, what that means to you, what unfolds for you. I would love to hear all about it. If you chose card number 3, your card is the Goblin. Believe it or not, I recorded this whole reading yesterday. It went on for 50 minutes. Pretty sure broke a record for these videos, and then I ended up deleting it because it felt like it was a practice. It was just, I felt a bit rusty. I haven't done a video since December. I'm in a real place at the moment personally, going through a lot of stuff. So I felt like that message was just for me. You didn't need to hear it. Yet some of the same kind of messages are coming up in this reading. And then when I was listening to Oracle Palooza, somebody actually pulled the Goblin card. I think I actually pulled out, I wanted to pull out this deck, the Wisdom of the Avalon, and I didn't look at the deck that I pulled out of my drawer, and it was actually Wisdom of the Hidden Realms, and it was the Hungry Ghost. And I think it's a very similar message with the Goblin and Hungry Ghost. Right, if you're in this place of birth, death, rebirth, you're in the cyclical nature of life, you're in this place, you're coming to know that things need to fall away, you need to let go of them, release them. So you need to just make space and hold space and sit in that space, and you're freaking out, all the things are going on, and then you need to engage with the mystery in that space. What is going to come up for you? Goblins is going to come up the whole time. Future possible outcome is Your goblins are going to be screaming at you. They never get so loud as when you are called to make a change in your life. You need to move house. You need to change jobs. You need to let go of that romantic relationship. Your child needs to move out of home. Maybe it's something a lot smaller, like maybe you think you're considering, extending your home to a pet. Maybe you're thinking about fostering a child. Maybe you're giving up a long-held dream. Maybe maybe you're buying a new car. Maybe you're getting your first car. Maybe you just got your license. Who knows? You are going through a period of change, and your goblins get loud and they will be screaming at you. These are the things. This is the self-doubt. This is the fear. This is the despair, the self-pity. And you know what? Goblins are great. They're good. When your goblins come up and the noisier they get, take that as a compliment. Understand that yes, 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 you are on the right path. You are doing the right thing, whatever. Don't get caught up on right and the word right. You are right exactly where you need to be right now. And all you need to do is acknowledge your goblins and keep moving forward. Embrace your goblins, love them. They are the signs, they are the breadcrumbs that say, yes, something is changing in your life and it's changing for the better. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Every time anything and everything shows up. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can hate it at the same time, and that's okay. Both and. Hate your fear and love it at the same time. Understand fear is normal and natural and not something that you can whatever you resist persists. You cannot try and cut pieces of yourself away and have a whole human experience. It doesn't work like that. The whole cyclical nature of life is coming to terms and accepting life on life's terms and accepting what is. And whilst ever you are running away and denying what is, whilst ever you are lying about it, you're in a delusion about it, you're never going to feel that sense of wholeness, and you're never going to experience peace with what is. I didn't say happiness. I didn't say contentment. I didn't say satisfaction. I didn't say joy. I said peace. And with it, awareness and acceptance comes peace. You don't have to like what shows up. You don't have to like the process of letting go. You don't have to like yourself. You just need to be aware and accept yourself and whatever's going on for you. And then peace comes. Didn't say it would be forever, because remember, we're in the cyclical nature of change. Okay, if your goblins are really biting your bum, excuse me, they're really getting to you, pop it in the comments. Let's witness. Let's see each other. This is big stuff, let's just acknowledge that. We have been through so much. Oh, God. Okay. So this is the details card. If you chose card number 4, it's called the details card. And this card provides further insights and clarity for all the other cards. So no matter what card you pulled, the dragon has a message for you. And the dragon is about the power and the strength. And here I am talking about my totem for this year is dragons. So let's just acknowledge dragons. Thank you, dragons. Thank you for showing up. And look, I'm not asking you to believe in anything that I believe in. I'm not asking you to I'm not saying that you have to believe in mystical creatures, magical creatures. I'm not saying any of that. You can just take this message in a symbolic, metaphorical way, and you can apply it to your life. You can take what you like and leave the rest. You can say, what does a dragon mean to me? What could a dragon possibly mean for me right now? If I see the word dragon, if I hear the word dragon, if it starts showing up as a sign in my life, what does that mean for me? And what am I making it mean as well? Okay, so the dragon is power and strength, and it is also connected with Merlin, with the magical process, life, death, rebirth. It's all a magical process. It's all a miraculous process. The fact that we even exist is a miracle. I think it was, please forgive me if I'm misquoting, Albert Einstein or someone said, we either look at life as though everything is a miracle or nothing is. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. So, Spirit wants you to know that when and if you are going through this process of life, death, birth, rebirth, that you have a source of support, you have a wellspring of support, and that source is within you. You are a spark of the divine. That's the source you're connected to, and you don't have to go outside of yourself, even though things outside of ourselves are sometimes assisting and supporting us. Things like this video, your oracle cards, whatever. Yet all of these spiritual tools are meant to assist and support you to go within and to reconnect with the truth of who and what you are, which is you are an eternal, immortal spirit. You are a spark of the divine. You are whatever your name is. You know, you are God, goddess, however you understand your higher power, manifested as your name. Wayne Dyer taught us that in his books. I think it was Manifesting Your Destiny. You are going through a process, not just of birth and rebirth, but of learning and unlearning. So there is muck in the way of you understanding who and what you are and why you're here right now. And we all have that muck. We all have that mess. It's called human conditioning, socialization. It's called culture. It's called language. It's called all the things. And you need a source of support. You need a source of power by which to live your life. You need a source of truth. You need a source of love. You need something to guide you throughout your human existence and experience. That's my truth. That's my understanding. That's my experience. You take it if you like, or you leave it if you like. Now, we all get hung up on what that source is, what that higher power is. We all get into debates and wars over that. You can see the fight for power, because the paradox is you experience powerlessness and you need a source of power. You are that source of power and you experience powerlessness. You're shifting on a spectrum between those two polarities. Everything is two things, the whole thing, and no thing. That's a paradox. Power. Power is power and the lack of power and all of that and none of that. How do you get up in the morning? You'll talk about power as big energy. How do you get up in the morning? What gets you through each day? What are you relying on to get you through each day? Because that will be your source of power. And a lot of us, especially people who have experienced a spiritual disease, a lot of us are not reliant upon that inner wellspring of power, upon our source, upon our creator. A lot of us are reliant upon false gods, upon the gods of our own making, whatever they are. And sometimes that's the journey. That's what it was for me. I had a real false god. I've worshipped control, the idea of control. And my truth was if I just controlled and enjoyed an alcoholic, that I would be okay. And I got to experience all of that and the absolute falseness of that. And it took me to a place of reconnecting with the true source of power. So if you are feeling powerless in your life, acknowledge that. Be aware of that. Yeah, it's scary as all heck. And you won't get anywhere different. You won't move forward until you acknowledge that powerlessness, until you sit in it, until you see where it takes you, because it will take you somewhere. If you're having a rock bottom experience, if you're having a dark night of the soul, if you're going absolutely insane, you're sitting in that abyss. And like Joseph Campbell said, which I said earlier, is in the abyss you find your treasure. Because when everything else is stripped away and there is nothing else but you and what you are, you have no choice but to find it. You have no choice but to discover your own truth and to discover your own wellspring of power, your own source of power. And this card is just reminding you of that. These cards are just tools, they're springboards so that I can connect with spirit and I can trust that, if I'm willing to be an open vessel, that spirit is going to connect with you and talk to you through me, through these oracle cards, through these messages. And all spirit is going to say is we are all the one being. You are me, I'm you. We're all going through stuff, all at different levels, all in different ways, all through different vehicles, different bodies. And it's all okay. Everything is valid. Everything matters. Everything's important. Wherever you're at right now in your life, whatever you're being challenged by, whatever you're finding difficult, acknowledge that's what it is what it is for you. And you can move forward from that. And I can hear Spirit saying we really need to turn that light on really super bright at the moment, and Spirit will help you do it. Spirit will show you the truth, and come out of denial. And I personally relate to being in a whole lot of denial lately and over the last 2.5 years. A whole lot of not wanting to know. And so it makes sense why I've struggled, why I've been suffering and feeling the pain of that, and why I've not been really connecting with the source of my power and the source of your power and all our collective power. So all the messages really are inside of you. All the truth, all the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, everything you need is right here inside of you. And it helps to connect more deeply with your heart and your spirit, and to let the mind, be the evolutionary tool that it is. Use the mind for its right use. Connect with the right use of imagination. The mind has a tool, it has a purpose. Mind has a tool. The mind is a tool, it has its purpose, yet you are not your mind, you are a spirit. You are a spiritual being first and foremost. Okay, I asked for a beautiful hug from the universe from these cards because I really, really feel like I need it, and you may too. The Nature's Whispers Oracle cards by Angela Hartfield. And we got vulnerability. Oh, these messages have been really deep today, these cards, and this overall message. And so, yeah, I don't think you can see it there. Can't see the words. What have we got? A little, there she is, a little fairy floating on a leaf down a stream. The artwork in these is done by Josephine Wall. Absolutely incredible. That's what really drew me to these cards. Okay, vulnerability. There, what is it? Oh, I'm going to misquote it. Brene Brown says, is there no strength or courage doesn't exist without vulnerability? I don't know. I read the books. Go read them. Watch your Netflix special. It's excellent. Vulnerability here in this moment right now is connecting with that part of us that doesn't know, connecting with the youngest part of us, the most frightened part of us, the part that is, like the goblins, like having a screaming, panicking toddler attack. The part of us that's noisy and loud and out of control and absolutely, chucking a fit and feeling so raw. The part of us that is just running and screaming and, diving towards denial and does not want to hear, does not want to know, wants to, crawl under a rock and hide. Vulnerability is that part of us, and it's the part of us that most often needs the most love and it gets the least bit of attention. And so that wounded part of us, the youngest part of us, the most frightened part of us, it has messages, it has wisdom, and it has gifts for us. And the thing is, the more you ignore it, the louder it will get. So it's the part of us we don't often want to acknowledge because it's the part of us that feels the weakest. And especially in Western culture, we don't want to associate with weakness, with being a loser, with being unsuccessful. We're all, push, 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 striving for all this stuff up here, to be successful in a Western way and to have the power and the strength and all that rubbish. And yet, the most frightened, vulnerable, youngest, most wounded part of us often contains the greatest truth and is the greatest source of strength, connects us more with our source of power than anything else. And all that wisdom is contained in your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. Connecting in with parts of your body is amazing. It will take you straight to that most vulnerable part of you. And if this work, if what I'm saying sparks anything in you, you're getting an inner ding from it, go and look up The Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Debbie Ford. Now, Debbie Ford transitions to spirit, but go and visit the Ford Institute, find out all about her work. And I think Debbie Ford really does that shadow work. For me, Debbie Ford explains shadow work and explains our shadow selves and the return to wholeness in a way that I could resonate with the most and that I got the most benefit from. So yeah, and that's brought us full circle to that birth, rebirth. Pardon me. I would like to say that you are worthy wherever you're at, however you're feeling, whatever is going on with you. You are always enough. You are worthy, especially when you don't feel it, especially when you're scrambling. And that, even the struggle and the challenge and the yuckiness and the not enoughness, all of that is important. All of that is valuable and necessary and needed. And it's really important to be aware of it, to accept it, to embrace it, to work with it, to love it. Like the Rumi's The Guest House, that's, I'm just living by that life philosophy. You just accept and welcome everything and anything that shows up. You let it in because everything is giving us an experience of life. Everything is adding to the picture of us. And I like to think that as I grow and evolve, that God does too. God, Goddess does too. And that's kind of the point. If you have any questions about anything I've shared, if I didn't make sense to you, put that in the comments too. You can always get in touch with me. This has actually been the very last Oracle cast. I have done these videos for over 3 years. Sometimes it's been a joy and a pleasure. It's been great. It's really been challenging and tricky. And I'm sitting here on a Sunday when I would rather be out on a Sunday drive and, experiencing a really nice hot pie and a piece of cake. I wanted to come full circle on all of this, and I wanted to show up for myself, for spirit, for you. And I wanted to acknowledge everyone that supported me with this, which is my higher power, which is spirit, which is my family. They have been so terrific. They have been through, me doing these videos all over the place, all over the time, taking up space in our house to do these, getting irritable, feeling irritable, then yelling at them, putting signs on the door, yelling at the dogs. They have been through all of that, keeping quiet, making me a cup of tea, saying congratulations. I'm so proud of you, Mum. I'm so proud of you, Kylie. I really, really acknowledge my family. That's Rodney and Alina and Carl. They have been my best and biggest and most consistent supporters for my work, for myself and for everything I do. They don't always understand or agree with what I do, and yet they support me. They have my back, and that's everything. I also appreciate anyone else that's been supportive of this. There have been a lot of people over 3 years, and I couldn't mention you all, Everyone who's ever liked the video or subscribed to the channel, I appreciate that. The channel is staying open, yet I'm letting Oracle Cast go. I said right back in the beginning, my intention for these videos was, one, I just wanted to see if I could do it. And yay, I've done it, and I've left all the videos up so you can see how I progressed, how the videos progressed. I also wanted to know if I could develop a consistent practice of reading, so I did weekly readings for a long time. Then I wanted to know if I could change it, so then I did monthly ones. And my most biggest intention for these readings was if I could just assist and support one person with these readings. And if that one person was myself, then that would be terrific. That would be excellent and totally okay. And I really, really benefited from doing these readings in lots and lots of ways. And not because it was easy, and not because I always wanted to do it. Yet I have, and I've gotten a lot of joy from it as well. And I go back and I rewatch them, and I have this library now, and I can drop in and out of the readings, and I can see where I'm at, and I can listen to the wisdom that came through me, and I can remember who and what I am, and I can acknowledge spirit and thank them so much because they do assist and support me every single day in each and every moment. And please know, no matter how you're feeling, if you're feeling super alone and unsupported and disconnected, or if you're feeling great, well, that's great. Spirit are always there for us. You are spirit. Spirit can never leave you because you are it. And acknowledging and reconnecting with that truth will be beneficial for you. There is no difference between you and I if you can be honest with yourself. If you can admit that you need assistance and support, then it will show up for you. I wish you many, many blessings on your life and with everything going forward and with the messages that came up this week and for the rest of February, the rest of 2022. May you have a terrific and blessed year. I'm Kylie Savage Psychic, and this has been the very last and final Oracle Cast. See ya.